Hi everyone. At DronaHQ, we have always focused on building effective solution that addresses real enterprise challenges. So oftentimes when you're building large application that has multiple screens and multiple components, things can slow down really quickly. Even small tweaks like adjusting a component or making bulk edits can get really frustrating if the whole app has to re-render every time. This slowdowns the whole app building process and speed becomes a bottleneck. That is why we have introduced DronaHQ's code editor extension. It lets you work on your large application more efficiently by making bulk edits without triggering the whole re-rendering process. It also comes in with the support of offline editing so that you can edit your applications in your favorite code editor. Alright, let me show you around. So once you're in the app builder section, you can locate your code editor extension right at the bottom. You can open your app in VS Code Cursor or Windsurf. But for now, I'm going with VS Code. So I'm just going to click on Open in VS Code, hit Authorize, which brings our application to our code editor. Before we jump into making all kinds of edits, I quickly want to go over the folder structure. So right now you can see that first there are app events. App events basically handles the global and the routing events that happens when you open your application. So let me just quickly show you. So once I click on the app and open.json, you can see that there is a delay. So next we also have configuration. So inside configuration, if you navigate to global config.json, so you'll see that there is last selected screen, which basically shows the screen number that will open up at first when you preview it locally. So right now it shows 3, which means our screen 3 will pop up as soon as we hit preview. Next, we also have data query. Data query basically stores the logic of the application. Here, as we can see that right now it has only one JavaScript query, which we can view in javascript.js. And apart from that, you can write your logic here, and you can also use your Copilot that helps you write your logic. Apart from that, we also have screens. So as we can see, we have in total 6 screens, and here we can make our bulk edits. And before we jump into further edits in our screens, let me quickly show you some of the commands. So when you type DronaHQ, you can see list of commands that are available. So you can also log in from your code editor right here. First, we are going to preview our application. So I'm just gonna click on preview and wait for the server to load. So as we can see that the first screen that was loaded on the screen was screen 3. As we discussed in the configuration section of last selected screen. Let me just navigate to screen 1, which has a table grid. And under screen 1, we can see that there's a folder called controls, which has main controls and has only one component called table grid. So let's say we want to shift this table grid from screen 1 to screen 6, which right now has no controls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the table grid from here. So just be careful while you're shifting or duplicating controls. So as we can see that there's a certain folder structure which has controls and then main controls. So we are going to adhere to that. So at first we are going to make a folder called controls. And under that we are going to create a folder main_control. And under that, we are going to paste our table grid. So I'm just going to paste this and delete the table grid from here and check our preview. So once you're on the preview, just refresh and let's go to screen 1. And as we can see that in screen 1, the table grid has been shifted to our screen 6, and here's the table grid. And this is just one example of what you can achieve with code editor extension. And this comes in really handy when you're doing bulk edits and shifting a large number of components from one screen to another. In the same manner, if I had to duplicate any control instead of shifting it completely, so let's say the screen 1 has right now no controls. So I'm just going to go and paste my table grid right here, copy and do a paste. And we can see that our table grid is back. But if we see carefully, both our table grids have the same ID, which can raise some conflicts while executing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this table grid to, let's say, table grid 3. and hit enter. And in the table grid, I'm going to navigate to meta.json, search to find the table grid ID. And we can see that here it is table grid 1. So I'm also going to change this to 3. We also need to change the CID of the duplicated table grid so that it doesn't conflict and it shows up on screen 1. So I'm just going to copy this and search. And we can see that there's 3 and in all of the 3 I need to change. So let's redo 1 through 3. Just make sure that it doesn't match the parent table grid ID. So I'm just going to hit save, and after that we'll preview. Let's reload and navigate to screen 1. And as we can see that we have successfully duplicated our control. In this way, you can duplicate your controls and screens in a bulk so that you don't have to go through the hassle of dragging and dropping each and every control individually and customize the component. While you're building large applications, multiple screens are bound to have multiple buttons. So let's say in this case, on screen 1, we have a button which also has a toast. The same way, screen 2 also has a button and screen 3 also has a button. And we can see that this toast message will disappear after 5000 milliseconds. And this is the same case for all of the toast and all of the buttons. And just a quick note here, while you're editing in your code editor as well as your builder, you would need to relaunch your code editor every time you're done with edits in your app builder. I'm just going to relaunch this, click on authorize. This should load my app successfully. And if we go and say that our screen 1 also has a button, screen 2 has a button, and screen 3 also should have a button. Great. Now what we want to achieve is that we want to reduce the time after which the toast message disappears. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do a global search of toast. This should give me 3 instances where toasts are there. And there if you scroll down, we will also see this timeout value. So I'm just going to copy this and place this in our search. And we will replace this with value 3000. So 3000, replace. This should be changing all our timeout values. So let's preview this again. So I'm going to preview my app. So as we can see that we have a button on screen 1, screen 2, and screen 3. Let me save this so that I can view. I'm also going to commit my changes to application in DronaHQ app builder. So for that, I can go ahead and do commit changes to app. This will save our changes right here. And now we'll navigate to our app builder. Let's do a quick refresh and then do a double click on the button to check on the timeout. So this will take some time to load. And now let's open our toast. As we can see that our timeout has been changed from 5000 to 3000. All right, now back to our builder. Let's say right now you have a big application which has 50 screens, right? And there's some use case where you do not need so many screens. So in that case, you can also delete screens. So in that case, you can also delete screens in a bulk. So you just go ahead and select and just hit delete, and that will do the job. So once you're done with all the edits and tweaks in your application, you can view it locally in your local host, or you can save and commit those changes in your application in the app builder, preview them from the studio itself. This gives you a lot more control in the app building process. And once you're done with all the modifications, you can also save a zipped version of your app locally. Also feel free to check out the documentation on code editor extension to understand it better. And we have also given a list of commands that you can avail and use in your app building process.